we've got one more question, and it's going to come from Monica, and whoever puts their hand up first can answer the question. So, Monica, off you go.
Thank you, Convener. Well, speaking of positive news, you got a lot of media coverage last week, and just looking at some of the headlines, lessons on climate jumps out. So your first recommendation, which was unanimous, is about making climate change a compulsory part of the curriculum, because in schools right now it's optional. I see Kevin's got his hand up already. So you've told us in the report why you think it's important. We'd like to hear more about that. And, you know, are there examples where young people in school are not getting any, you know, climate change information? So, Kevin, perhaps you can enlighten us.
Well, it would appear that some schools have already embedded climate change and what, again, positive things that can be done about it into this current curriculum. So without the need of spending too much money, it would seem that some schools have taken the approach, okay, we'll add some worksheets into each subject area. So at primary school, for example, writing, then what you're writing about is something on the topic. Maths, if you're going to do a sum, why not make it theme related? And so it's about, rather than, again, having to come up with a new subject area, it's about how do you embed the topic into the existing curriculum in the first place. There could be some really quick wins there. And given that some schools are already doing that, it's simply a case of sharing that to make sure everybody's included.
So growing on that best practice and then mainstreaming that work. David had his hand up next.
Yeah, again, briefly, I think this maybe comes under the category of we were all really surprised that it wasn't already there. And as Kevin says, we don't have to reinvent the wheel with this, and it's not for us to try and understand the national curriculum, but it wouldn't seem that difficult. It actually seems a very natural thing to do, to introduce that as early as possible, so that it becomes second nature, because that then gets transferred back into the home, and it, as I said, it just seems a very normal and natural approach to take.
Well, I got ambushed then, David, by you. I said one, and you made it two. But I was also warned before this session by the Participation and Communities team that I wasn't going to get away without being asked a question myself. So I'm not going to give you the chance to answer me the question. Politicians never let other people ask questions. They work out the question they want to answer themselves and then give you the answer. So I guess the question that you would have wanted to ask me is what we're going to do with this report now that we've got it. Well, we've got to decide as a committee after this what we're going to do. But some of the things that we will be doing is, for example, we have got the Climate Change Committee in next week into the committee, and I'm sure your report will, and some of the questions that you've raised in the report, will help us inform our views and questions to them. We've got the Circular Economy Bill, which we're about to do stage 2 from, which I'm sure will prompt some of the discussions that go on in there. We constantly have ministers in here from different portfolios, and I guess we'll be asking them questions. And there's a process going on in the Parliament at the moment where there's a review being undertaken to see where government policies are reaching targets of net zero. And as conveners and as committees, we're looking at ways to try and make sure that when a bill is published and when policies are published, that we understand where we go.